So my grief has kind of, become a badge of honor. It's something I go around with. And I guess sometimes I don't realize how emotional it is.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Unpack with Nay, a show where we have wholesome, authentic conversations. And in today's episode, we have Zina Anumudu. Zina is a serial Pan-African entrepreneur with a focus in PR, event activations, and fashion retail. She is the CEO founder of Ozina.com, a digital fashion hub which connects a lot of people to African brands and also TSC agency. And most importantly, she's my sister. And I'm excited to have this conversation with her today, and I hope you enjoy watching. If you do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and share. So, let's unpack. Hi, Zina. Oh my gosh, I feel like we talk a lot, so this is just going to be chill. Just a nice chit-chat conversation.
Can I stop you? You're so beautiful. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm shy. Stop.
You're just so beautiful.
I'm very shy. But yeah, honestly, like I feel like when you think like female entrepreneurs in Lagos, I don't think female like fashion entrepreneurs, just entrepreneurs in general, like your name must be mentioned. You know that, right? No.
Now I do, I guess.
Now you do. Okay. Well, me, I'm telling you, and you inspire me so much, and I love you, and I'm just ready to have this conversation with you. And to jump right into it, like seeing what you do a lot of like, activations, like you meet a lot of people. It's just, I don't know, it requires a lot of like social energy. How do you think that your work has just, made you into who you are right now in terms of like your personality and everything?
How do they say? I think I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah, it's like
it's an ambivert. Yeah, it's like I know there's a word for it.
Yeah.
I'm quite social, but I'm actually very antisocial.
Yeah,
so people who know that, I'm antisocial.
Yeah, okay, but like,
but a lot of people don't know I'm antisocial. Like I enjoy being alone. I enjoy having my own space. I enjoy just, just doing things at my own pace.
Yeah.
But with social media and the nature of my work, I know that my personality is key.
Yeah.
And so I have to intentionally ensure that I always have that personality bubbly, ready to go.
Yeah.
But
the next thing you're home at like 10 p.m. because I know you don't keep late nights.
Exactly. Yesterday, for example, I had to go somewhere with my sister-in-law, and I was in my normal Zina mode, like just not in the mood. And not that I was in the mood, I was just relaxed and nonchalant. And I walk in somewhere and, was sitting, and then two women walk in, and they're older. So I just said, "Oh, good afternoon, ma." And I stood up so that they could sit, and I went to go stand. The woman said, Zina, you're getting up for me? No, you're my baby girl. I follow you on Instagram. I was like, God, this is not
the
what
energy
I need.
You want right now.
But I had to turn it on because that's the personality that I have on social media. And I was with my sister-in-law, but I spent the entire time entertaining these women, talking about my social media, talking about stuff. And I know I'm grateful to God that has, turn into profit and I'm making money out of it.
I was going to say that because like these interactions eventually turn into like monetary, like, profit. But also like, how did you get to this point? Like, how do you feel like you've come into yourself where you know how to like switch off and switch on? Like how long did it take for you to get here?
I think I'm still in the process.
Okay.
I think the older I've gotten, the more I've appreciated who I am as a person.
I love that.
And because I know my strengths and my weaknesses, I'm able to turn up. So for example, if I have 3 work events this week and my friends want to go to dinner the 4th day, I know to say, guys, I can't make it to dinner because I don't want to go to dinner and be grumpy because I've had a long week. I'd rather just switch off. So I'm able to kind of like plan. I think that helps me.
But it's not something that you've always felt. You just like kind of like just, it's revealed itself to you over time.
I think over time I've become busier, and becoming busier has allowed me to see that, okay, you're going to burn out if you don't take care of yourself. Yeah. And I have burnt out several times.
How do you deal with burnout? Just hide.
When you burn out, like, you literally can't do anything else. And I'm very high functioning. So I run multiple businesses. Yes. I'm at the center, at the core of my family. I'm part of my family business. So I know that when I burn out, nothing can happen. And so I try to prevent that happening. And so when I burn out, I just try and shut down as much as possible.
Yeah. How's the pandemic for you?
It was interesting. It was very interesting. I think lockdown started second week of March. I lost my dad third week of April. So like the first 4 or 5 weeks, when everybody was trying to figure out the pandemic, I was trying to figure out how my life was going to, progress and stuff. So it was interesting.
Yes, losing your dad in the pandemic, like I feel like we're also just isolated from the world. How were you able to like find solace?
You know, it's interesting. I always say to people that God is very intentional about things that happen to us. God has always been the center of my core and my being and everything that I do. And in losing my dad during the pandemic, that was more evident. Based off my personality, I'm actually grateful I lost my dad during the pandemic and not now.
Why?
So, for example, now when people lose family, their house is full of 1,000 people. And people are talking to you, and I'm very active. I'm the one that takes care of people. I'm like, I think I went to someone's house when she lost her dad. She was serving people, doing stuff.
Yeah.
That would have been me, right? But during the pandemic, no one was allowed to be around us. Everyone was scared of COVID. My dad passed at the beginning of COVID, so people even thought he didn't pass the COVID, but people thought it was COVID. So I'm sure they were even scared to come close, and I think that that really helped me. The fact that the people that came close were the people who are my nearest and my dearest that I wanted to see. So like, I think he passed at like 4 a.m. and I sent a text to a few people, and at about 7, this was when there was no movement. At 7, the people I wanted to see were present. I can't imagine that happening now, and then going downstairs and seeing all these people. So I feel like it happening during COVID was actually the best part, in a weird way. Was the best part for me. Even like when it comes to the burial, for example, it was a very small burial because, again, things were quiet. So I think the isolation was actually quite therapeutic for me. It was a blessing in disguise,
Yeah. Hearing you talk about it, I'm just like, I feel like looking from the outside, you would think that you would feel so alone because like obviously like there was COVID and everything, but I never thought about it from your perspective of just having like the ones that you really want
I never felt alone.
I
never felt alone at any point in time, especially when people were so far away in terms of movement being restricted. My phone was always dying because my friends never left me alone. So I used to be on FaceTime for 18 hours and my phone would get too hot and it would die and I would have to switch to my laptop. I had people that were FaceTiming me here, so I never ever felt alone, never.
Yeah. But how do you think like that loss has changed you as a person? Do you feel like, because you obviously have like a balance, like your introverted self, your extroverted self, like what was the most dominant personality you felt at that point in time?
So I think grief has redefined me as a person. I'm no longer as, what's the word I'm trying to sound?
Okay.
Grief has allowed me live my authentic life. So I'm no longer as conscious of things or people. I think the person that said it best once, Chimamanda, she lost her dad and her mom, so she writes a lot. I'm not particularly a reader, but since she lost her parents, I just like reading. And there was something I can't remember verbatim what she said, but she basically said that my dad has passed, the worst has happened. So who do you think you are? Or what do you think? So I've become extremely fearless.
I love that.
I become extremely intentional because you don't know how long you have with anyone. So, so my grief has kind of, become a badge of honor. It's something I go around with. And I guess sometimes I don't realize how emotional it is. So my dad passed April 21st. I think I ordered the necklace probably the next week because that was when I was in my tattoo phase and my mother said no. So I got the necklace and I put it on. So at the time I had never taken it off. And then when we went back to work and everything, I had a photo shoot. I think I was an influencer or an ambassador. I had a photo shoot. And the stylist just came and just took it off. I think that was probably one of the most difficult moments. And I didn't realize how attached I was to it. And I was just like, and I was shaking. I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, where is it? Because like, oh, it's just here in my pocket. And I was like, okay, there are cameras here. And then when I went home, I basically broke down. So yeah, it's interesting.
What's the one thing that you wish you did with your father that you didn't get to do?
You know, that's interesting. I feel like we did everything. I'm very strange. I feel like we did everything we're supposed to do. Do you understand? I don't have regrets. I mean, being a girl is cliche. I'm like, okay, my dad is not going to be here to walk me down the aisle or this or that. But I don't think our relationship was just so wholesome that I don't think there's anything I'm like, oh my God, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that.
Do you have any regrets?
No.
On the days
No
that
tears. Respect yourself.
Your
Respect
eyes
yourself.
are like,
I'm very composed.
Your eyes
so
are like
don't annoy me.
Like the tears are like
don't
right
actually
here,
annoy
so
me.
I'm good as long as you're good. But on the days that you have bad days, that you wake up and you're just like, this sucks. Like, how do you get through mornings like that?
So I find that my bad days are normal days. So
I really like that. I really like that.
On Father's Day, people will call me, are you okay? I'm like, who cares? It's Father's Day. My dad didn't care about, he didn't care about Father's Day. The days I struggle, like maybe if I have a hard day at work and I want to vent to him or talk to him, those are the days that I struggle.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like trained myself. A day is 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So if my bad day starts at 9 o'clock, I know that in 15 hours, I'm done with today. And my brain is very mechanical. I'm just like, okay,
such a nice mindset
it's 9 o'clock. Okay, what can you do? I distract myself. I pray. I meditate. And I meditate a lot. So remember I told you when my dad passed, I couldn't sleep. So people always stayed with me on FaceTime and stuff. Yeah. So when I weaned myself off that, I started listening to podcasts. Yeah. So I use podcasts to sleep. Yeah, and so if I'm having a bad day from afternoon, I start listening. I'm working, but it kind of just settles me a bit. And then, I'm just like, it's one day. Tomorrow is going to come. It's fine.
Like, that's such a nice, how did you have that mindset before the loss or just after that you just kind of
after. I feel like before the loss, I didn't really pay attention to certain things.
It changed you.
But it changed. It literally redefined. It's almost like I felt like my life was moving in this direction and I lost my dad and I'm now here. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with being here, but it's just not the direction that I understood life to go in.
So I feel like when people pass, like when you lose someone so close to you, people expect you to be a certain way, like when you're grieving. Yeah. What are some public perceptions that people had of you? In regards to how you were grieving your dad?
People were shocked that I was on social media.
Yeah.
So people were calling my siblings and calling my mom, oh my God, Daddy died last week. I saw her smiling on Instagram. I'm like, okay. An aunt called my mom to say that I was wearing an orange shirt.
You should be wearing black?
I was like, no, this is not a Nollywood film. If I want to wear orange, I'll wear orange. If I want to wear purple, I'll wear purple. But so I feel like society has its own. So, for example, I know someone that lost a parent a few weeks ago, and people were talking like, "Can you imagine?" I saw her at a restaurant, and I said, "And."
So
they're like, "Oh, like it's just weird. Like, does she have to be out?" I'm like, "Don't do that." And I got really upset because it kind of took me back there to when people just expect you to live out. I mean, I understand, societal standards and, our culture, but at the same time, I feel like people need to be respected as individuals.
Yeah.
You don't know, people grieve differently. You don't know her maybe having lunch. Maybe that was a restaurant she was always eating at with her dad. Maybe her being there was therapeutic or helped her. So, I definitely feel like the pressure is there. I just didn't care, or I don't care.
Do you think that posting helped you?
No, I don't think...
How were you feeling when you were sharing?
So I don't think posting helped me. I wouldn't say it helped me. But I would say being my normal self and staying... I live intentionally on a routine. I say to my friends,
Sunday, literally, you go to church. Good morning, happy Sunday.
I haven't done that today, actually.
I
did. Why are you calling me out? I didn't go to church today.
Say it. God bless you. God guide you.
Happy Sunday. God bless you. God guide you. And I hope you have an amazing week ahead.
Same thing every Sunday.
So my life, because I live on such a strict routine. So for example, now see how we're here. You can't tell me to meet you for lunch in 1 hour, dinner in an hour. Even if I have nothing to do, I'm not that spontaneous. I mean, unless I'm bored or the person I'm meeting, I'm going to make $1 million with the person and this. I'm not that. So I feel like that's what happened when I lost my dad. I was just going about my normal routine, and I was just living my life normally. And I think that's what shocked people, like, how is she able to do these things when she's supposed to be sad or she's supposed to be going through this? But it was almost like I need to, for my own sanity, I need to stay within my routine.
And I feel like routines are so, I don't know, it's so hard to break. And I feel like if you're trying to build like the life that you live, you're so multifunctional. How do you call it? Like you're doing a lot, high functional. If you don't have a routine, you could just
I remember one time I posted and some people said they could relate. So if you look at my calendar is very full. It has random things. It has meetings, it has medication, it has flights, it has reminders to do this. And during COVID, my calendar was empty, and it was giving me anxiety. Like, why is my calendar empty? Like, am I just supposed to be staring at the ceiling? You know, so that was actually tough for me, not having that routine or not being able to work and stuff like that.
It's interesting that you say that you didn't feel alone. Because hearing what you're saying now, like when you're not actively working, obviously, like the way you would normally prior to COVID, and losing your dad, like it just went on like normal. You didn't feel alone at all.
My mom was stuck in England when my dad passed, so it was just me and my dad, actually. So physically, I was somewhat alone.
You were there, like.
Yeah, I wasn't in the room, but I was at the hospital when he passed. Yeah. How do you don't know?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was at the hospital, but I didn't go into the room because I said I was.
What was your first reaction?
So I feel like my dad passed in April, but I grieved his death in February. Does that make sense?
Like 2 months before.
Yeah, because I mean, because of how close we are, I knew how sick he was getting, and it was quite terminal. So I feel like in that February, this was even before COVID, it was just like, I remember that day or that period, Kobe Bryant died, and I remember crying so much because I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I was like, oh my gosh, Kobe Bryant died, this is crazy. Like, I can imagine this happening to me soon. And then I always just thought if he passed, he'll pass maybe in like a year or 2 years. But I didn't think it would happen in like 8 weeks, you know? Yeah, so when my dad passed, my mom was stuck in London. You know, the airports were closed, so she couldn't fly in. And my twin brother was in the US. Thankfully, the airports were still open, so my brother was able to go join my mom. So my brother was my mom, and then I was in Lagos with my two older. I have 3 brothers. I was in Lagos with my 2 older brothers. So during lockdown, it was just me and my dad, like for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then I think the last week he went to the hospital, and I was there. And my brothers were there, yeah.
What's the most thing that shocked you about grief or like loss?
I feel what shocks me is the element of surprise, like, you know.
Yeah,
it's not linear. That's what shocks me. So for example, there are times I forget.
Oh.
Yeah, like I can fly, and when I land, I'm texting everybody, and I'll text his phone. So that's the one that shocks me. Sometimes I forget, or when you don't expect to feel the pain. So my mom said someone passed in church or something, and that she was going for a service of songs. That, do I mind accompanying her? I didn't think twice about it. I was like, okay, cool. And I was in the car doing whatever, and we got there. And I told her, oh, just go ahead, I'll meet you inside, because I wanted to finish my work. So I finished. Then when I sat down, I looked up, and the first thing I saw was the caskets, and I just started crying, because that was my first time seeing a casket. It had been maybe like a year and a half, but that was my first time seeing a casket since his burial. And I was actually shocked, because I was in the car doing work. Like, I was actually, like, I had to go back to the car. I was like, okay, this is, and I thought I was, yeah, this is too much for me. So I think it's the moments that you don't expect. Like I said, Father's Day, I'm fine. His memorial, I'm fine. It's just the days that it just comes on its own. I think that's when it's tough.
What's an advice that you give to someone who's like currently dealing with loss or like grieving someone? Like, what would you say? What do you wish someone had told you when he passed? What do you think would have made you feel? Is it possible to feel better?
They can't tell you
There's
anything.
Nothing. But what's something that you can? Something
I say to someone is give time. I love that saying. Like, you don't know, like time. Literally, it sounds cliche, but time helps. Time heals. Yeah. And you know, with time, like someone said, oh, it gets better. It doesn't get better. You just know how to manage it when I talk to people, they're like, oh my God, you're so short, you lost your, I was like, it's just time. Time has just allowed me to get to this way. I'm sure this is my first time speaking about losing my dad on camera.
Yeah.
I've never done that before,
How does it make you feel?
I was nervous at first. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't go to church today. I wanted to sleep.
Oh, you didn't go to church?
I wanted to sleep. I said, please, 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 please. Angel should not stress me today. Do you understand? So I wanted to sleep, but I'm fine.
But I feel like you talk about it. Obviously, like, healing is such an interesting journey in whatever, like, be it loss, be it heartbreak or anything. Like you said, it's not linear.
Heartbreak and loss are not the same.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, whatever.
No, but people say it's the same.
What? People say that?
People say it's the same.
No.
I actually think loss is easier, but that's a different question.
Really? No, we can go. Why do you think loss is easier?
Because it's final, right? It's very final. There's like, with loss, it's like, okay, I know that. Like my dad is not here.
Yeah.
I know that's done, and you accept it. There's closure.
I like that.
And you move on. But with heartbreak, you see the person gallivanting on the
they hurt you.
You see the person gallivanting on the main road.
Yeah.
Or you get messages, or and you imagine and you think. But with loss, like, I know I lost my dad at 28. I know he's not going to be my 30s. I know he's not going to be my 40s. I know he's not going to be my 50s. I've accepted that, and I'm okay with that. But with heartbreak, you always imagine, had this happened, had I known this.
But the thing about it, like you said, let time be time.
Yeah.
With the heartbreak too, I feel like maybe if you broke up with someone at 28, and at 28 it feels like the end of the world, but then you enter 30 and 40, and then you just forget the person. You're like, this person was never supposed to be in my life in the first place. So.
But maybe the person wasn't as significant, But I still feel like I see why people struggle more.
With heartbreak.
I feel like loss has been easier to accept. And
have you had any heartbreak that you can?
Thankfully not. No, I haven't. I
haven't.
No, I haven't. But I'm saying I've seen. Like, I understand it better now. Like, I completely understand it. So for example, now if my phone rings, I'm not waiting to say, what if it was my dad calling? Because I know my father can call me. Do you understand? So I just feel like it's two different mindsets, and it's two different playing fields.
I was going to say, like, you being very nervous about coming here. And
I was really nervous.
And hearing you talk about it, even I'm just like, I have no words. Like, I have no words. I feel like you sound very
zen.
Very, like, aware of how you're feeling. And I feel like fundamentally, life, if you need to be self-aware, like, you need to focus on, that's something that I try to do, focus on how you're really feeling. And I feel like you're very in tune with how you felt, and you feel, rather. And I feel like I want to understand, like, the trajectory. Has it always been you been feeling zen? Like, has it always been like this? When was the moment that you felt like there was a switch between how you initially felt when the loss happened and how you've become now?
That's a good question. I think his memorial. Yeah, so because we had a really small burial, which is kind of opposite from what our culture expects.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do something for his memorial. So for his 1-year memorial, we planned a very elaborate, a very grand memorial for my dad. And in the planning process and everything going on, I just noticed how composed I was. Like, I mean, credit to me, I've always been a composed person. Yeah. But I noticed, during that planning period, I was able to, fun fact, I didn't cry at the burial.
Really?
Yeah.
At all?
And everybody thought I was crazy.
When was the first time you cried? Did you cry the day it happened?
Yeah, I cried.
When was the last time you cried?
Last time I cried about my dad?
Yeah.
Probably yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Really?
I cry a lot. Like, there's nothing wrong with crying, but it's
I
not like, oh my God, I'm weeping. It's like, I could just see a video
and
have a moment. I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, tears here and there. Yeah, probably like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah.
You cry and you just keep it pushing.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how to explain. It's like sneezing. Like, it's reflex. Yeah. It happens. It's not like, you don't wake up saying you want to cough or you want to sneeze. Yeah. But it happens, you cough, you clear your throat, and you keep it moving. Yeah, so I cry a lot about my dad. It's just, it's not so theatrical. It's not like, oh my God, I'm crying, I can't function, I can't do anything. The toughest tears, I'll tell you. So my best friend was supposed to get married when my dad passed. But, COVID and everything. So her wedding was moved by 6 months. So she ended up getting married, I think in October. So October 2020, around that NSARS period. And I cried a lot at the wedding. It was very tough because obviously you're very happy and everything, but for some reason that was when I noticed how important fathers are at weddings.
That's what I was asking
Yeah.
you earlier, yeah.
So that wedding was because I was very, very happy, like, and everything, but I was just a mix of emotions. Oh my God, daddy, this, that, you know. So yeah, it was tough, but then you thank your support system, you thank your family, and you're okay.
You lost him at 28, so like 2 years before the end of your 20s.
That is so dramatic. What does
No,
that mean?
No,
What does that mean?
No, because I feel like with every decade, right?
Okay.
There's this when you're in 2020, it was like, oh, my last year as a 19-year-old in my teenagehood. Then when you're entering 30, the 30s are like, it's different. People come into themselves. It sounds cliche, right? But most people, like most people come into them. If you hear 30 something like,
hello, I'm 31. Respect yourself. Like when you say 30 something,
like 30,
like I'm 37.
So listen, you're just coming into it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so let's say you get not like in a very annoying, condescending, auntie type of way. Like when you get towards like your late 30s, you start to see that the things that you did in your 20s or the way you were, it's just different from how you are in your 30s now. Do you get? So I feel like losing him, okay, well, I mean, I don't know if this will still make sense since you don't see that. But like losing him in your 20s, like were there any like expectations you had of like your relationship or him in general going into your 30s? Like if you ever thought about it?
No, not really. I'm an only daughter, so I've always had an extreme bond with my dad. Like, again, I assumed every girl was that close to her.
What was your first encounter that was not the case? Like what?
I think it was more obvious after he passed.
You became more aware of it,
People were like, yeah, you lost your dad, but I'm 55, my father is alive. We're not quite as close as you guys. Like, I just realized how wholesome.
Yeah.
My dad was very vocal about, I think that's from a very confident person. My dad was very vocal about how he felt about me, So in regards to what you're saying about my 20s, I think we got closer, I think when I entered university at 16. I think as a Nigerian parent, well, I don't know, let me speak for an Igbo. I think it's an Igbo dad thing. I don't think he could relate so much to me when I was younger. But then when I got into university, I studied economics because of my dad. He studied economics. And so I was talking to him about school and, when I became an entrepreneur, I'm the only kid that's an entrepreneur. All my brothers have worked in banks all through. And so I was able to always talk to my dad about business, My dad would say to me, okay, weird story. So a newspaper one time, I just remember, a newspaper did an article like 10 billionaire kids that are so successful, doing well. One, Davido, two, Copy. This. My dad called me like, what's this nonsense? David is singing. Copy is a DJ. Who are you? What do you do?
He doesn't know you on the street.
What exactly do you do?
He doesn't know you on the street.
Okay, Dad, sit down. I'm going to tell you what I do. And I feel like that really changed our day. And when I told him all that, his response was like, okay, I'm not giving you money, right? But if I don't give you money, what can I give you? I said, can I get an office space? So that's how I got my office. My dad gave me my office. And our offices were kind of next door to each other. So he'd come and he was not like, okay, maybe this girl is actually doing something. And I think this happened probably when I just moved back to Nigeria. When I moved back, I was like 23, 24. So I enjoyed those 4 or 5 years before he passed. We were really, really close, especially about work and stuff. My dad would go to a bank, to discuss business and everything. Very long presentation, they would do it. I'm like, okay, good. Someone now put up their hand. Sorry, sir, are you related to Ozina?
I love it.
He was like, I don't understand. Weird thing. So Ozina is my full name, but my dad never called me Ozina once my whole life. So my twin brother's name is Ozichukwu, which means message from God. So my parents coined my name Ozina, message from Father. Nna. So my mom just wanted Zina and Ziki. So I'm Zina and my twin brother is Ziki.
Yeah, I feel like social media people that call you Ozina.
So I was always Zina, right? But then when my Instagram started growing, I was like, my Instagram name was Zinaj, that's my nickname. So my dad used to call me Zinaj. My name on my mom's phone is probably Zinaj. That was my nickname. But when I moved back to Nigeria and I noticed how my page blew up, I changed my Instagram handle to Ozina. So a lot of times, if you go up to my mom and say, "Oh, I'm Ozina's friend," she wouldn't even tell me because she'll know you don't know me because nobody, people that call me Ozina know me from social media or from that life. So my dad never knew me as, in 28 years, he never once called me Ozina. So I feel like after I got the office space, after all of this, we were now very close and we're always in constant communication. And then I'd hear him tell people about my business and I'm like, oh, okay.
You're so proud.
Yeah. So I feel like there's nothing I didn't experience with him.
Yeah.
I kind of like, oh my gosh, I wish I've never had a moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, oh, for even just you getting closer, like 5 years before his passing, I would think that you'd be like, oh, I wish we did this more. I wish we did
so
this
it might have to do with my personality. I'm very accepting of things. Like, so I'm the kind of person like, if they say dollar is now 5,000, people can vent. My head is like, okay, it's 5,000 now. So how am I going to move forward? I don't like to. I think it's my personality. It can be a good thing and it can be a bit bad thing. I accept things for what they are and what it is. I don't dwell. Even if I want to dwell, I snap out of it. So I'm not one to like so when people go on social media and rant, I don't understand it because I don't know how to rant or I don't know how to rant online.
So how do you rant? You don't rant online. So how do you rant?
There are ways. There are people you call. There are people you call.
But like, what's your first reaction to like discomfort?
I don't mean sound cliche, but I pray.
I like that.
Yeah, I pray. Like, it's so weird. People are like, you're so religious. I think I'm more spiritual than religious. Yeah. One time I was, do you know Joyce Meyer?
Yeah.
My mom says she's my grandma because my mom calls her mom. My mom watches Joyce Meyer all the time, right? Yeah. So one day I was in my mom's room and she was watching Joyce Meyer. And Joyce Meyer said, people always make prayer seem like it's something complicated. Yeah. That prayer is literally conversation with God, that she can be getting dressed in the morning, and if she doesn't like how her hair looks, she'll say, God, like, I really hate how ugly my hair is looking. I want my hair to look nice. And then in 15 minutes, her hands will just start and her hair will look nicer, that she believes that God answers you and hears you. And that thing really stuck with me. This happened maybe like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And so since then, I have a habit of always praying. In fact, like, I have a best friend that calls me Ada Jesus because he just feels like I'm obsessed with prayer. But that's just how I am. Yeah.
Well, I like that. I feel like praying just.
I shout and scream too.
Yeah,
let me not.
Honestly,
yeah.
But
the first thing, most times I pray.
Yeah. I think sometimes you just think that you have to kabash, like you have to.
I don't know how to do all that one.
Yeah,
like I said, mine is very like.
Just talking.
Yeah, I just talk to God, say what's happening and how I feel.
Did you ever like question God?
No, and I told you, I wish I was as inquisitive. I wish I was as like, people are like, oh, what if? I'm like, no.
You just accepted it.
I just accepted it for what it was.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like this conversation.
But that's me in general with everything. I just accept it. Like if I go downstairs now and someone bashed my car, someone will say, oh, call the gateman, call this person, find the CC car. But your car is still bashed. So if my car is bashed, I'm looking for how to fix it. I'm not looking for who to blame or who to accost. No.
Yeah.
But it's good to have people in your life who will still do all the drama for you. Yeah. So.
Oh, who will do shouts? Who will shout?
Probably your brother.
Which of them?
Both of them, actually. Both of your brothers.
Oh, Casey.
No, Kemdi shouts too. Not only Casey.
Casey will shout. I feel like he just...
No.
He does a lot.
He's more of action man. Kemdi likes to shout.
I feel like me, I just cry.
Yeah.
And I feel just one thing I've taken away from this conversation is I just like how in tune you are with everything that's happened to you and just like putting God first. I think my first reaction to discomfort or first reaction to sadness or just discomfort when I don't feel good is to cry.
But there's nothing wrong with crying.
There's nothing wrong in crying, but crying and going to bed is different from crying and talking to God.
Fair. Okay, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, crying and going to bed is so different because I would cry myself to sleep, or even if I'm not crying, I would just zone out. I feel like when I'm feeling the most pain, I find it so hard to pray. And I know a lot of people say... I feel like
that's the best time to pray.
Yeah, a lot of people say it. I find it, at least in that
In that moment.
In that moment. I find it so hard to pray. Even the crying stuff I'm even talking about is, I find it hard to cry as well. But when I open the floodgates, if I cry, then I can like, when I let it out, then I can pray. So what I've like learned from this, I feel like I ended up learning something. What I've learned from this is to kind of like just put God first, because I feel like the peace that I thought this conversation was going to go differently.
How? Tell me.
Nothing. I don't know.
I was
I was actually
oh my
no.
God.
I was actually nervous.
Angel, I'm
I was
so
actually
depressed.
nervous. No. I was actually nervous as well because it's such a heavy and sensitive.
Yeah, but I also feel like
know?
you've helped me, because I don't think I would have agreed to do this with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Why do you think you would not have done it? It's like, I don't know.
First of all, I do not say no to you. That's a problem I have in life. I need to learn how to say no to you.
No, but
that's number
one.
one.
Aside
that, I just feel like it's such a part of my life that I hold so closely.
Yeah.
That I already share somewhat of it online, but I'm very careful with how I allow people in this space.
How do you feel now that you shared? Because you said this is the first time. No, don't do that.
No, I feel like
there has to be an emotion
like,
that you are feeling.
I wish I was dramatic enough to tell you that I feel.
No.
It's
not. It doesn't have to be.
I literally feel like we're at your house right now and we're just talking.
Maybe
so I think, and it's you as well. It's you I'm speaking to. Maybe if I was speaking to a stranger, or I was speaking, but I wasn't guarded. Yeah. The only thing is, when I woke up for church this morning, I was like, girl, you need to sleep because Angel's about to stress you out today. So I went back to sleep.
I didn't stress you.
Well, you didn't stress
they're
me.
Just like, I feel like they're just so, I mean, the entire premise of Unpack with Nay is to have conversations that maybe people like you, it's not like, how do I explain it, and it will make sense. Some people run away from certain conversations, like how you've been running from this, because maybe, you wouldn't have been comfortable with who was hosting it, or maybe you're not ready to share.
Yeah, I don't think I could have done this last year.
Exactly.
I don't think I could have done this 2 months
ago. At your own time.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to create like an atmosphere where people can come and just like, let's talk.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
You're doing a really good job.
Let's talk. You know, it's not that deep. And I think with things like loss, people run away from it. Also, maybe they're not ready. Do you get it? And that's okay. But you don't really, or maybe when they talk about it, it's not in a way that maybe people can hear and like relate to or feel inspired by. It might have turned into like a bawling session. But with your own conversation...
No, I knew I was going to cry.
No, but with your own conversation, I feel like it's giving room for whoever is listening to this and has like is grieving or, feeling some type of way.
But guess what? I'll probably cry in the car.
Crying is fine. Crying, but why do you think you'll cry?
Because I was like, whoa, what just happened?
Your eyes have been sparkling all through the conversation. And me too. I don't want the tears were here.
Yeah, I was like, I had to go like this, like,
when you've been saying it, it's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
But you don't cry on camera.
I'm trying to be cute today.
Yeah, that's why this is
like. Yeah, this is cute.
So it's okay to cry. But I feel like it's also like just very good to have conversations like this, and it's healed me in a way that you not even understand. Yeah. It's healed, it's inspired, and I've loved it. And thank you so much for coming, and thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for building like such an amazing community of women who are inspired by your fashion, who are inspired by your authenticity, like just being an all-round amazing human being. I'm talking to you now. I'm serious. No. But I feel like
thank you. It means a lot.
It's different when like family is telling you stuff, because you're just like, what's she saying?
Yeah.
But I know that there are a lot of people who actually look at you like this, and when they listen to this, they'll be even more inspired by like your strength and like your perseverance through this entire. So thank you.
Thank you. You're so cute. Look at you.